celebrity culture, I don't think I have the words to.
Do you find it crazy sometimes?
Of course, it makes no sense. It makes no, especially as an actor, your job is to kind of be invisible in a way. You're supposed to watch and be a spy and live life and have experience, but and make mistakes. And when suddenly that attention's on you, it makes you self-conscious in a way that, or just the idea that any actor or celebrity somehow has an opinion on global affairs that that it's given weight. But I don't know how you cope with that. I think maybe it's just not to take it too seriously.
Action. Are you ready?
Uh-huh.
How do you find the body, the gestures of a character?
Well, it kind of comes from different things. I think it depends on what the script is, and sometimes it's something that you add on top of it, and sometimes it's pretty obvious. Sometimes a costume piece, I think, affects how you move. Sometimes it happens before you start shooting anything, and sometimes it happens 2 weeks into shooting already. Yeah. But mostly from the script, I'd say. That.
I'm thinking of this beautiful entrance as a stand-up comedian in Annette. How did you compose this body?
Well, we talked about him being very lean and kind of sinewy. He's smoking cigarettes, but he's also eating a banana. Yeah. So there's already some kind of almost is commenting on health, and it's an athletic thing, his show. So you kind of get the sense that he is comfortable with movement. But how we found the entrance, it was really a combination of instinct and choreography.
Interesting.
That's what Leos does really well.
It's very interesting because when I interviewed Leos, he told me acting, according to him, had to do with the balance between chaos and precision.
Oh, yeah, that's a great way of describing it.
That's how he coins it. When did you first embrace chaos as an actor? Do you remember?
No, I didn't have that moment, where I think you have to, and sometimes I'm more comfortable with it than other times. Sometimes a scene kind of leans towards you having to embrace it, and sometimes you kind of want something more structural. I mean, you're not only. It's odd that you're making this thing that you're capturing once that is going to live forever, and you're only doing it once. You don't really often have the time to rehearse it, so a lot of your first impulses wind up making it into a form that's very strict once it's done. It's pretty rigid, actually. And then as you're making it, you not only do you have to compete with your impulses, but you're competing with technology, and time, always time.
I was wondering, do all the movies accept chaos? Can you let go the same way in an independent movie, say a Jim Jarmusch movie, and in a huge franchise like Star Wars?
Yeah, it's just different ways of it depends on what your definition of chaos is. You just referenced Jim Jarmusch, which, we did this movie, Patterson, which is he's a very cerebral character. But from take to take, my version of chaos is just not knowing what's going to happen. Okay. But that doesn't necessarily have to be in a big physical, obvious way. It could be very internal, like having a different thought that leads you to can be chaotic, because you don't know where you're going. But then there's things like Star Wars, which are more obvious, set pieces. They're more external, the chaos around. There's visual effects and a lot of moving pieces, but it doesn't make it any less chaotic. It just makes it maybe. It depends on what your definition of chaos is.
So I like this phrase that you often quote, making a movie is like having to take a piss.
Yeah.
It's so urgent, I love that.
Yeah.
So what do you mean by that exactly?
That it has to come from a place of need and be urgent. It's a lot of effort to get to a place, to get a lot of money together, to get... even this is something on a small scale, but you have 3 cameras, or 4 cameras, everyone picked out their clothes, got makeup, here hours, you're considering it because you believe, and it's a lot of effort to do this thing. So it makes it easier, and I think maybe more gratifying if it feels that urgent that you have to do it,
As an actor, what remains of the army man, of the soldier that you used to be?
I think in the military I learned a lot about working as a as a unit. You know, it's like a team. It's a team sport making a film. It doesn't really rest on one person. So, and making sure that you're doing your job in support of everybody else's job is how they're very similar. So I think I took that from it.
Would you say sometimes making a movie is a mission, a military mission?
Sometimes, yeah. Yeah.
What movies are you talking about?
All movies are always a mess. It's a miracle that any movie gets made.